Hi everyone, my name's Tom Fahie and I'm a retired physical education teacher in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I taught physical education in Halifax for 35 years. I taught all levels from primary to grade 12. Today we'll be doing an activity from the PHE Learning Center. The name of this activity is Track Your PA Every Day. PA is physical activity. The theme of this activity is physical education. This activity is meant for students in grades 4 to 6. For this activity, you will need a ruler, a pencil, and some paper. You can do this activity at home with enough space to move around. The learning outcome for this activity is recognize physical activity intensity levels and track your personal physical activity levels and minutes that you're active. In order to do this activity, we're going to be using something called a benchmark. A benchmark is a tool that we use that we measure certain aspects of our life. A tracking system can be used to establish a benchmark for our activity. Today I'm going to challenge you to track your own activity for 3 days so you can set your own benchmark. The first level of activity we're going to talk about is inactive. That means you're doing something that involves very little or slow breathing. That's called sedentary. Next, we're going to talk about light activity, which is something that has low intensity, like walking around the block or walking with your friends. Then we're going to talk about moderate activity. That's where you're getting quite a bit of movement and your breathing may increase and you might sweat a lot. The last level we'll talk about for activity is intense. Now, intense, it's doing an activity that leaves you breathing hard and sweating a lot, such as sprinting. Now that we know what the activity levels are, we're going to allow you to set up your own chart that will track your physical activity. Now is when you'll need your ruler, your pencil, and your piece of paper. I just finished my chart. It doesn't have to be as big for you, but I want to show you in this clip. Here's what's on the chart. How active was I? So that's right at the top. Now I put in columns time of day, what I was doing, and whether I was inactive, a light activity, a moderate activity, or a vigorous activity. I thought I'd show you what my first day of tracking my physical activity looked like. As you can see, at 8:30 a.m., I walked the dog, and that was light activity. As you can see, at noon, I had my lunch. I was sitting down at a table and watching some TV, so that was inactive. At 3 o'clock, I went for a bike ride. Now, on the bike ride, I was sweating and I was breathing hard, so that was a very vigorous activity for me. So I checked off the box under vigorous. At 6 p.m., it was time for my housework. I did raking of leaves, cutting the lawn, and cleaning up all the tools that I used. As you can see, that's moderate activity because my heart was beating a little faster than normal. For the next couple of days, I'll continue to track my physical activity, and then I will have a benchmark. After you finish your 3 days, you're going to count the number of checks you have for each activity level. Then you count up the number of minutes you spent at each activity level. Did you know that according to the Canadian Physical Activity Guidelines, children should have at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity every single day? If you're meeting these guidelines, think of what you can do to maintain the level of activity. And if you're not meeting these guidelines, think of what you can do to raise your level of physical activity. And now I challenge you to come up with some activities that you can do to increase your physical activity. As time goes on, you can refer back to your physical activity tracker and make another one. Then you can compare the two. Or you can keep a record of every single week that you're active. Now that we've completed our PHE Learning Center activity, it's time to look back and reflect or analyze what you've done in the past. My first reflection question to you is, Was it helpful to see your physical activity levels and the time you were active written down? Why or why not? My second reflection question to you is, what other aspects of your health and wellness could you track? Remember, you can modify this activity to meet your needs. Pick the things that you find fun. I want to thank you for joining me today in talking about physical activity and how we can track it. For more physical education activities, please check out the PHE Learning Center at phecanada.ca. Also, be sure to check out the various physical activities from the Olympic School program at olympic.ca. Thank you, everybody. Have a great active day.